3 weeks into the new year, we've had storms and tornadoes, we've had hail and wind, and now a blizzard in Beaumont. What's next on the itinerary as we enter the third week of January? Let's talk about it in this Tuesday edition of the Texas Weather Roundup. Hello, it is Tuesday the 21st of January 2025. I'm Texas Weather Center's Baldy-in-Chief David Reimer, and yes, we've had quite a day across the southeastern third of Texas. We've had winter weather accumulations, South Texas, the Coastal Bend, Coastal Plains, Southeast Texas, the Golden Triangle, the first ever blizzard warning ever issued for Beaumont and Port Arthur, a rarity. In fact, blizzard warnings are quite rare in Texas as a whole, but that was the first one ever issued down there in the southeastern part of the state and, well, parts of the Gulf of Mexico. We'll find out just how much snow has fallen and all that as we progress through the day. No doubt the Weather Service offices will compile a comprehensive list of that and create maps and graphics of which we will share. Whether or not this ends up being historic in terms of the top whatever number snowfall for many cities, well, we'll find that out as well. But in terms of the blizzard warning, yeah, that was a first in terms of what's going on in Louisiana right now with, 5 inches of snow and near blizzard conditions in New Orleans. Yeah, haven't seen that in a very, very, very long time. So we're off to an interesting start this year. Let's see what's going on weather-wise the next couple of days. Here's the high-res rapid refresh model. The snow is gone. It's moving out. No more snow for us. But whatever doesn't melt and evaporate before sunset this evening is going to turn into a block of ice as temperatures become very cold across the state tonight. So keep that in mind if you're heading out and about. And don't bother going on I-10 into Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida Panhandle. It's not going to happen. Probably for at least 2 days. For us, well, guess what? We're done with the snow. We're done with the rain. Things will clear out today, tonight. Mostly cleared across the state tonight, which will allow temperatures to plummet after sunset. Tomorrow, some increasing clouds possible southeastern half of the state, but we are not expecting much wind and no precipitation. Going into the long range, the American Weather Model Global Forecast System. Well, let's gander. Let's say hello. Maybe a few showers along the lower Texas Gulf Coast, the Rio Grande Valley. Pure rain at this point, I might add, as we warm up. Otherwise, it's not looking bad on Friday. Mostly sunny across the state. Southerly winds return as a warm-up commences and continues. And with that, we'll start looking towards Sunday. As we get into Saturday, though, some increasing clouds, maybe the chance for some showers across the eastern half of the state. We'll have to wait and see. You can see this model is trying to pin out a few snow showers in the Panhandle, West Texas, Saturday night, Sunday morning. We'll see. That's out in voodoo land. Maybe a few scattered thunderstorms the eastern third of Texas Sunday afternoon into Sunday evening as we see some more moisture-rich air mass advect inland from the Gulf of Mexico. And then as we get into next week, a precipitous pattern may set up, but the details are certainly uncertain at this point. But it looks like a mostly rain event. This model is trying to spit out a few wintry mixed scenarios for the western third of Texas. We'll keep an eye on it, but it does look wet as we go into early next week across the state of Texas. But mostly rain. Tonight, the whole state's going below freezing, no question about that. Lows down into the teens, 20s. It'll be 30 in South Padre Island, 29 in Brownsville, 26 in McAllen. Where we have a pretty good snow cover across southeast Texas, the Golden Triangle, don't be shocked if temperatures fall below 15 degrees Fahrenheit. Otherwise, the entire state will be in the teens and 20s tonight. Any water, slush, snow on roads, pavement, etc. will turn into ice not long after sunset as the sun goes bye-bye. Tomorrow's high temperatures, we are expecting to be above freezing across the entire state by the afternoon hours. Coolest across the eastern third of the state and the Panhandle, where we have some snow cover. Golden Triangle, especially, where we have more snow. Temperatures may not get out of the 30s, but it should get above freezing. With the sun out, we will see a good amount of melting. Western half of the state, Hill Country, Big Bend, Permian Basin, parts of North Texas, we'll be in the mid-50s tomorrow. It's going to feel like a heat wave. Even parts of the Big Bend may try to get into the 60s. Deep South Texas, Rio Grande Plains, Rio Grande Valley, back up into the mid-50s as well. 49 in El Paso. Back below freezing tomorrow night across most of the state, an exception being the Rio Grande Valley, Deep South Texas, where those folks will stay in the upper 30s to mid-40s. Otherwise, the rest of us, we're back in the teens and 20s. So again, a lot of melting expected Wednesday, but that may leave roads and other surfaces wet, and those will turn into ice once again tomorrow night. So keep an eye out for that. Thursday, actually a little cooler across the western third of the state. Highs mostly in the 40s with 50s across the eastern half of the state, maybe some 60s in the southern Edwards Plateau. May still see a bit of a temperature differential in the Golden Triangle where we have residual snow. And honestly, parts of Louisiana, the way it looks, southern Louisiana, y'all may just keep snow for the rest of the week. It'll melt, but y'all have a lot of snow to melt. Friday morning, temperatures across the state back below freezing. Everyone except the Rio Grande Valley, Deep South Texas. We're back into the teens and 20s, so we're still going to have cold nights. So keep that in mind. Friday afternoon, warmer across most of the state. We're going to be in mostly the 50s and the 60s. That'll feel nice. Coolest near the Louisiana border and up in the Panhandle. Still pretty nice. Saturday is looking pretty nice. Now, I realize this graphic looks really weird here. We use the National Digital Forecast Database, which is the National Weather Service's forecast information graphical data set. When offices, we have like 13 or 14 that have jurisdiction in Texas. Sometimes these graphics, and there's updates going out, they don't line up correctly, so you could see a bit of a difference in West Texas. Let's just, for all intent and purposes, pretend that's going to be in the 50s as well. We're looking at mostly 50s, 60s, and 70s across Texas Saturday afternoon. It is going to be warm. It is going to feel glorious ahead of our next upper-level storm system that arrives on Sunday. With that, we're going to have a cold front move in to the northern half of the state. That's going to knock temperatures back down quite a bit. Not as intense or as cold as this last time, but it does look pretty decent. Southern half of the state, enjoy the warm weather on Sunday because highs in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. But things are going to cool off again as we get into early next week with rain chances continuing, and depending on how much cold air we have in place, western portions of the state and maybe some northern parts of the state could have a wee bit of a wintry mischief chance. We're not seeing any solid indications of, crazy winter storms or anything like that at this range, but yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. It's January, and 2025 has just been ridiculous to start off. So here's the long-range temperature outlook from the Climate Prediction Center. You can see how that kind of matches up with what we're expecting. Above average temperatures, southeastern half of the state. Below average temperatures, northwestern half of the state. SoCal, Pacific Northwest, western United States, finally starting to switch into a less Santa Ana weathery pattern, which will be good for fire control out there. Here's the precipitation outlook. You could see above average chances for us here in the southern United States going into next week in the final days of January. So it looks like we'll be active. Hopefully that doesn't mean any sort of winter mischief or stormy mischief, but we'll see. Either way, we could use the rain, so that's okay. But again, winter storm all but done as we go into the afternoon, but anything that is still out there by sunset is going to turn into a block of ice this evening as it drops below freezing statewide, so keep that in mind. Quiet weather mostly across the state for the next several days before our next storm system arrives this weekend. As always, we appreciate all those watching us here on the Texas Weather Center YouTube channel. We've had a lot of folks join us over the last several weeks. Thank you for doing that. If you haven't already, feel free to hit that like button if you enjoy the forecast information. You don't have to like the forecast, but hitting that is a good way to tell the algorithm that we're awesome blossom sauce, and we appreciate the help with that. You can also hit the subscribe button if you want to be notified about new Texas Weather Center videos. Of course, you can also find us in the free Texas Storm Chasers mobile app. Just search for Texas Storm Chasers where you download apps for your device. And you can get your local weather forecast, interactive weather radar, and more. We'll be back bright and early on Wednesday with your next Texas Weather Roundup. Y'all have a great Tuesday. As always, God bless.